Think we're live. Hold on. Okay, yes, we are live. Let me just switch tabs here. All right. So the Joe Flacco riddle that I covered last week, or I can't remember if it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Whenever I covered it, that riddle is now dead. So you can see here, they go out to the Texans. Chiefs look, Chiefs are on their way to a berth in the second round. And I wanted to go, as I talked about before, there's always college basketball games the day before the Super Bowl. And just to show you, Super Bowl 58 days. So the Super Bowl is on February 11th, 42nd day of the year. Again, Freemason 42, Jesuit 42, the N-word 42. There's more, but those are the themes to look out for. As I said, it's on the 11th, the day before the Super Bowl. Here are some couple of key matchups that could be a, a clue as to what the matchup will be in the Super Bowl. The first one, we got Houston versus Cincinnati. Now, Houston, there's a couple things with them. There's obviously the Texans are still in the playoffs. In the thumbnail, I actually forgot to include um, the Eagles logo. I don't know why I forgot to include them, but Jalen Hurts, Eagles quarterback, is from Houston. Houston could also just be representative of Texas because there used to be an NFL team called the Dallas Texans, and now the NFL, actually they were an AFL team. Well, maybe no, I think there actually wasn't. That's another thing I'll talk about later. But anyways, the Dallas Texans later became the Chiefs, and now the NFL team in Houston.
Ready for the NFL playoffs?
I was born ready.
Shut up, Joe Buck. Where was I? And for Cincinnati, the 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 man of the year, as it seems like, Travis Kelce, went to Cincinnati, and obviously he's involved. He's currently dating Taylor Swift. Where does it show that here? There. Okay, it talks about it there. So that's something to look out for. I think this Houston Cincinnati matchup could be a ritual for either Texans versus Eagles because, well, or it could just be a ritual. It could be a riddle for, yeah, I guess Texans versus Eagles makes sense because Jalen Hurts from Houston. But I think it could make more sense if it was Eagles Chiefs, perhaps, because Jalen Hurts from Houston, Travis Kelce went to Cincinnati. Could also be with the Texans connection between Dallas and Houston. It could be symbolic of a Cowboys Chiefs matchup. The other Big 12 matchup that day is Baylor versus Kansas. And even though the Kansas City Chiefs play in Missouri and University of Kansas is obviously in Kansas, University of Kansas is the closest major university to Kansas City. And they have had rituals involved with the Chiefs and the Super Bowl. Like, let me just go to what would be a good way of doing this. If we look at their schedule from last year, yeah, last year they played Oklahoma the day before the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts went to Oklahoma, Kansas over Oklahoma, and then Kansas beats Jalen Hurts. Kansas City beats Jalen Hurts the following day. think they may have done something with them in this year as well, if I remember. No, what must have been the year before. Yeah, here you had Kansas beating Texas Tech, where Mahomes went to school, and then Kansas City wins, beats the 49ers the next day. So, and Texas Tech is the Red Raiders, 49ers, who the Chiefs beat in the Super Bowl that year, wear red. Anyways, it's Baylor versus Kansas matchup. Again, Baylor is in Texas, and they're not in the Dallas area or the Houston area, but I mean, it's like an hour and a half away from here, I'd say. Could be symbolic of a Chiefs Cowboys matchup, or since Jalen Hurts is from the state of Texas, maybe, and Baylor wears green like the Eagles. It could maybe that is a foreshadowing of a Chiefs Eagles matchup. But I think more likely this would be a foreshadowing of Chiefs Cowboys. On to the Big Ten. On this day, we'll have Maryland and Ohio State. Now, I talked about this in my last live stream because the Baltimore Ravens moved from Ohio to Maryland. And I was looking back through uh, each of these schools' schedules ever since Maryland joined the Big Ten in 2014, and they have never played on the day immediately. I guess that'd be the day. They've never played the day before the Super Bowl. So if you're out there saying like, "Oh, well, this could just be like a random matchup," these two schools have never played each other the day before the Super Bowl, and you have the Baltimore Ravens who moved from Ohio to Maryland. And also on that same day, on the opposite coast, well, that's weird. Gonzaga plays Kentucky in February. I thought that's weird, but okay. Anyways, you have Santa Clara versus San Francisco, and obviously the 49ers moved from San Francisco to Santa Clara. They're still called the San Francisco 49ers, but they play in Santa Clara. And both of these schools are Jesuit schools. And Santa Clara just wasn't yesterday, but 2 days ago, they were involved in a huge Jesuit ritual, beating Gonzaga, another Jesuit school, 153 points. Jesuit Order 153. And I want to show you, so they say this was their, yes, right, here we go. For Santa Clara's first win over Gonzaga since January 20th. That's that infamous date that can be written 2/20/1, the Jesuit Order 201. And that was 13 years ago. 41 is the 13th prime number. This day here, February 10th, will be the 41st day of the year. If I can spell, Baltimore does equal 41. But again, I think it is interesting that we have games between teams where the NFL team moved from one city to the other. And it's interesting they're both playing at the state or the city where the NFL team used to be. Like you have Maryland at Ohio State. Baltimore moved to Maryland from Ohio. Santa Clara at USF. The Niners moved to Santa Clara from San Francisco. Something to think about. As I said in my live stream about the Joe Flacco riddle last week, that I don't. NFL is probably NFL and NBA are definitely on the weaker side for me in terms of like my knowledge of like history and players and all that. I'm better with baseball and hockey, but just something to think about. And yeah, perhaps the Texans are a team to think about because, as I mentioned, Where, I guess I'll just have to go back. As I mentioned here, like that Cincinnati-Houston matchup, or the Kansas-Baylor matchup too. And in regards to, I didn't, but since this Super Bowl will be on the 42nd day of the year, and the Texans do have an African American quarterback. Here he is. It, it's possible. It's still too far out, in my opinion, to at least in because I haven't done that much um, research on the Super Bowl. I've more just kind of been following along and have picked up certain items of information that have come into play, but I haven't focused on it too much. Unlike baseball, where I was kind of able to see it more clearly, but that's probably because I am more familiar with baseball. I know what to look for. And also, one more thing in regards to the playoffs, just not gematria related, but this is a 2-7 matchup. The 7 seed has yet to win a game as since they introduced it a few years ago. And if the Cowboys beat the Packers, then that means the 7 seed will be 0-7 all time. And that means if the Steelers win, they could be the 7 seed would be 1-7 all time. 17 is the 7th prime number. And remember, when they added the 7 seed, they also added 17. Sorry, they added a 17th. Sorry, yeah, can't talk right now because I'm coughing. They added a 17th game to the regular season. Let me just look up the 2020 NFL season. Here we go. The Okay, so my bad. It was actually the next year, but yeah, it was part of the collective bargaining agreement that they agreed to add a seventh team to the playoffs and a 17th regular season game. And we were just talking about Freemason 42, Super Bowl's on the 42nd day of the year. Mason 17, 17 the 7th prime. Freemasonry. Modern Freemasonry founded in 1717. So will the 7 seed become 1-7 in the playoffs all time by the end of this weekend? We'll find out. And also, like, they need the 7 seed to win a game at some point because, like, people are saying online that, like, oh, why do we even have the 7 seed? They've never won. They need to justify putting in the 7 seed. And, like, the Bills have always had, like, playoff losses where they kind of lose in embarrassing fashion. So the Bills fit the bill to lose this game, in my opinion. Now that doesn't mean they will lose it, but I mean I think they're favored by like 10 and a half, so I think it wouldn't be a bad bet to pick the Steelers to cover, in my opinion. All right, I just want to do a quick update. I don't really have anything else to say right now, but catch everyone later. End stream.